We are live. Okay, I'm going to wait until a lot of people come in, but you are a popular lady, let me tell you. So, good afternoon and hello, and welcome to The Working Actor on the Workbook. Thanks for joining us here every week. We really appreciate your time, and we really appreciate the time of our next guest on The Working Actor today. Her name is Colleen Rush. She has over 10 years' experience in the casting world. Colleen started off with Larissa Mair Casting, and after doing 10 years with Larissa, she decided to expand herself and evolve as well as a casting director. Not only working for Larissa, but branching out on her own, being her own businesswoman, and developing and creating her own division of casting with Colleen Rush Casting and Associates. And we're so happy to have her here on The Working Actor. Ladies and gentlemen, Colleen Rush. Yay!
Thank you so much. I appreciate the applause on this. That was very fun. I
Well,
liked that.
you're a popular lady, I'm
On the
telling you.
Zoom.
You are. And that begs me to ask the question, how many things are you casting for that everyone wants to be a part of? Because they're already probably like, how do I get in front of her face, right?
Well, like keep an eye out for The Office Movers season 2. It is non-union, so I apologize for anyone who's ACTRA. But we have a lot of content creators and everything, so it is a non-union project, and our leads are non-union and all that. But
Huh.
keep an eye out. There'll be lots of like public posts, obviously to agents, everything like that. And we just started, and there's quite a few episodes, so there's a lot happening there. We have Mistletoe Murders season 2. That is ACTRA. And I mean, non-union can be obviously considered as well. It's a Hallmark series and with Lionsgate as well. And we just began, and there's 6 episodes, and there's quite a few roles. And that one will be mainly to agents, just for anyone who doesn't have representation. Agents will be getting that one. There'll be very
Okay.
few that will go to the
All right.
public.
So, Colleen, obviously, I've been speaking with you before we even got onto this Zoom, and your approach and I think your attitude is really you're an approachable casting director, which one thing I really appreciate about you. What was it about the casting industry that attracted you to it?
Um, I think as a lot of people might have started out, maybe they were in like I liked acting, I liked theater, I was in the arts, I was just very much in there. And when I started directing some stuff, I was like my favorite part was the auditions. It was the only thing I remember, the only thing I cared about, and I just loved doing that puzzle piece and making all of the actors work for a cast and making an ensemble and doing all of that. So that's what initially like got me very interested and excited about casting.
So, did you give up on acting, or are you still doing both?
Oh no, totally gave up. No, it was not for me. I'm not an actor.
But obviously, you understand what goes into the process of acting and what you need in order to get that audition, right?
Yes, and I love actors and I respect what they do, and it's so hard and it's such a craft and it's such a beautiful thing. It was, yeah, acting is one of the hardest things out there to do.
Yeah, I know. And that's why we're talking to you today, because you're going to go some tips, some expert advice on how to nail that audition, but also certain things that you're looking for in an actor when it comes to the audition process. And what are some of your tips, your pet peeves, and what are you looking for? So let's just get down to the casting process of it all. What do you love most about it? And obviously, what is it that keeps you going to work every day?
Well, it's so much fun like making the call and giving someone like you got the part and like showing them that their work has like paid off and everything. But it's so creative. Like we do everything from the breakdowns of the roles, figuring out all of the characters, how much we have to do, getting the audition material, figuring out all of the watching all of the tapes and like finding out everyone who's right and who's amazing and just sort of like making that puzzle piece sort of work. I'm sorry, I've forgotten what the question is.
What do you love most about the casting process?
Oh, it's so much broader than I thought it was when I got into it. And I think that's part of what I love about it. It's this big job it's never done. It keeps growing. You keep learning. It's never stagnant. And like you can never be bored. And it is just such a rewarding job to have.
Yeah. So when you got into this industry, what were some of the struggles or maybe the challenges that you had in order to get, I guess, great at your job at being a casting director?
It's something that like when you first sort of start, it's such a big world. And so there's so much to figure out and it's just sort of like you just sort of dive in and just
Yeah.
and be engulfed in it and learn as you go and accept sort of like your limitations like early on. And like being able to off the top of your head be like, this person's great for this role and these people and blah blah blah. Like that, it comes with time. It's not something that you have like, which I was very frustrated about at the start. I was like, I don't know yet.
Yeah, but 10 years later, you're still doing this. So obviously you're great at your job. What is it that you wish that actors would know more of when it comes to the casting process?
That we aren't the deciding factors. Like we want actors to do well. We want like you need we need you more than you need us. Like we want their auditions to be amazing. We want you to succeed. Like we're such a support. And it's devastating when someone that like, maybe is our favorite like doesn't get the role and that kind of thing. But we're so happy for the ones that do, and just like we just want everyone to succeed. And like we see you, we watch all the tapes, we watch everything. I've heard before people are like, oh, they can't watch all the tapes. We
Right.
do. We watch every single one, and we see you. And even if let's say like you're not right for that part, like you've made an impression, you will think of you for something else. Like it's a constant moving process, and there's so much happening.
Yeah, which brings me to my next question. I was wondering if you've ever had an actor audition for you where you're like, no, this guy or this girl, I know it's not really for us, it's not right for the role. But once you saw their audition, they completely changed your mind.
It's one of those things. It's like as you're because what we know when you go into it is you know the opinions of the producers, the opinions of the director, you've read the script, and there's something sort of formed opinion. But as you're watching tapes and as you're watching people sort of portray the characters, there's so many surprises, and you're like, oh, and even if there's something that you're like, that was wonderful, and you decide it's not right for the part, you'll be like, oh, but they're right for this, and you'll put them sort of there. Or you'll be like, that is left field. It was so good. We're gonna send it and see what happens. Because a lot of times you're just sort of like, sometimes people like they just know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want. And so you're like, do you
Right.
want this?
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah. So
Trying to give
how
solid options. Yeah.
right. So how often do you bring actors back when you're like, okay, you weren't right for this role, but perhaps you'll be great for this one that I'm working on?
Oh, it's constant. It's all of the time. Like agents submit, we pick all the people, and then like if let's say someone didn't, like we do searches, we're like, oh, this person, like we make direct requests like constantly. We're all working together with the agents and working with people that we remember, and like everyone makes an impression,
Yeah.
and we remember you, and we will bring all literally all the time.
Yeah. So that's again going back to that theory where an audition is never lost, whether you get the role or you don't. You're all being in front of a casting director is what you want because they'll always remember you for something else.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
We will,
Okay.
and also like if sometimes people get worried, like, oh, if they didn't do great, like that doesn't really stick as much, to be totally honest. Like you guys are working, things are tough, things like we know. And so if something was like, oh, that wasn't their best, like it's not like that sticks in our heads that much. We move on
You
and
move.
we bring you back again. Like it's fine.
Okay, so I know I'm looking at a lot of the people who are coming in. We've got some people from New York, we got some people from Canada, we got some people from London. You are a popular lady, Colleen Rush. No pressure here, but I know a lot of people are tuning in because obviously you're casting for The Office Movers season two, and you've worked on a lot of other series and here in Canada for CBC and CTV. So you've seen a lot of self tapes. We know. When it does come to self tapes, what are some of your tips on how actors can make an impression with you with a self tape?
For sure. I mean, one thing I would say is like don't do anything that can work against you. Like casting directors, we can look past all the technical things, like we totally can. But it's one of those things when you get past us and you're into network, a lot of times networks can't. So we would then have to like have you come back and do something different in order to like fix those technical things. But if we can skip that and just have you like go right to network because your tape is a great quality, like good framing, nice lighting. You don't need like super professional things, just like clean background, like just like certain things to sort of keep that one thing in tapes. If ever you're in like a locker room, no nipples. We don't, it's okay. We don't need to see that. It's all right. It makes me feel like we're taking advantage and we don't want to. It's okay.
Okay, noted.
No nipples. No.
No, no,
Men, I know the women won't, but men, yeah.
really. Oh, well, you would think though, if you're doing this for, if you're really serious about it, you have would have known not to do the nipples or not have like obviously a back.
Honestly, it's very real. I totally get it. Like for certain, like we did a hockey movie, there was lots of locker room scenes, and we just didn't think to say, please keep a shirt on.
So when you say you can get past the technical, when you're saying that, you're saying the lighting or you're saying the cropping. But obviously, if you want to submit a really good self-tape, you want to make sure that that's all great so that you don't have to kind of annoy the casting director when they're seeing stuff like that, right?
But it's like we will see the acting through all of that. It's more, we're not the deciding factor, and then the deciding factors tend, they're the ones that are like, they can't look past it a lot of the time.
Yeah, so that's one of your pet peeves.
Yeah.
Are there any more pet peeves that people should note right now?
Eye lines, you don't have to have them super far away. Like it literally can be like here, here, like super small adjustments. Having the camera sort of like level with your face versus looking like down or up or whatever. Just sort of like thinking through the technical stuff, just like a little bit is very helpful to sort of like not distract from what you're doing.
Oftentimes actors will probably want to show you more of what they can do. Do you
Right.
do you think that that's something that you should encourage actors to do? Like, do you want them to go off script, maybe give you a little more, or does that annoy you as a casting director that they're showing you something you didn't ask for?
It depends on the project and the size of the role, to be totally honest. Like, um, comedies a lot of the time are way more okay with it. Dramas generally not. And like a lot of these have been like the writers have worked on this like a lot of the scripts are set, so not going too far off of it. And then if you're auditioning for like a smaller role, if you're adding a lot of dialogue, it just takes away from it. Like it's not, no offense, it's not about you in those moments. You are supporting a story, and it's just about making that moment work and then moving on.
Yeah. So you've worked with a lot of talent. Can you maybe describe a moment where an actor did leave a really big, lasting impression on you, and you were saying like, "This is what actors should be doing"?
One of my favorite auditions is actually he was a child. His name was
Okay.
McIver Wright, and it was his chemistry read for Odd Squad Mobile Unit like years ago. And the direction that he had was literally to just be more bumbly, and that's all he got. And so most of his audition for this take ended up being improv, and it was just one of the funniest things I've ever seen of just him taking that direction and just going big with it, not being afraid, and just letting it run. Like he was literally just like putting things away and falling over. And it was just the funniest, and he was like 11 at the time.
So what was it about that that made you say that this is a
It
great?
was just so real. Like it was this guy that was just like klutzy and
Yeah.
living in this world. And it was just, it was so magnetic because it was this kid that was able to do that. And like a lot of times kids don't always give themselves permission to be free. And the fact that he had the confidence to do that was just so incredible.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how you feel about that content creator and influencers, et cetera, kind of merging into the acting industry?
Oh my gosh, we love it. Like, please come on in. Like, what we're trying to find is the right fit for roles, like whether or not you are an actor or a content creator. If you're able to portray honest moments on screen and be free, like, come on in. We love it.
And how do you encourage content creators to kind of break into the industry if they don't have any experience?
Well, it's kind of tough in that like most if they don't have an agent that is on the services that we use, like they don't necessarily get the opportunities or see them. So like for them, I would say follow all casting directors like in your area and further. And when there is public notices, you'll be able to see when they're there. Um, get an agent that might be one that has this like casting workbook and like stuff like that. Um, and I mean, we do ourselves, like we do look like if we're like, oh, we're getting this type of role, we'll like look through some content creators and sometimes we'll find like, oh, this person's right. And we'll
Right.
ask them to audition. But it's don't rely on us for that totally though.
Right. So tell me a little bit about your day to day when it comes to casting for a project. How do you go about finding the right person? You read the script, you go through all the self tapes. Tell us a little bit of take us behind the scenes to a day in your world.
It's different a lot of the time. I mean, I do work from home, so it's like I'm always here.
That's right.
But it can be anywhere from being on the phone constantly doing negotiations for all the deals. Like we're trying to like push for the actors, make sure they can get what they need in the negotiation when they get the part. If we first get a script, we break it down, we read it, we do all that, we get the notice approved by the producers and the director and all that stuff, and then we make the picks for everyone who to audition. And they're like, oh, what like you're constantly getting ideas of people when you're reading things and you're like writing it down, trying to try. It's this big like web that you're trying to like bring in, right? And then we caught all the self tapes, make sure all the agents with their pushes, they get to have an opportunity as well. And we're not gonna be like, oh, we're right. These people are like, we're not gonna have pushes. Of course, like, yes, please, like, come on in. And then we watch the tapes and we pick who's the best for the roles. Like, yes, we do not present everybody, but it does not mean that we don't see you. And then we send those off to the producers and the directors. They make their picks, and then those picks go to network, and that's how it sort of decides who gets the part and all that kind of thing. Or if we go back to the drawing board because someone had a note or something has changed or like something like that.
So if you really are rooting for somebody to get the role, do you guys have any influence or maybe persuasion when it comes to maybe talking to a director and kind of trying
Right.
to convince them?
They will listen to our opinions, of course, and it's a conversation and it's a creative, like everyone has say, and then that's sort of as far as it goes. And then
Yeah.
you see what is decided. But yes, if we feel someone is like perfect, we'll be like, this person is it, and here's why. And yeah.
As an actor, or have you ever felt as a casting director that you had to give an actor feedback because you wanted them to improve their craft?
Oh, of course. Like I miss when we were in the room because we could do it constantly.
Yeah.
But now with tapes, if I'm watching a tape and I feel like, oh, there's just you need this note, like I will be like, hi, agent, can you tell them to please tape again? Like this is not a it's not like a callback because no one's seen it other than myself.
Right.
But we just need to see it this way, and that'll help their tape like instrumentally. Like of course, yeah, we do it all the time.
And has there ever been a situation where you were really rooting for someone, they didn't get it, but it really stayed with you because you really felt they were the one for the role?
Yes, that has happened before.
How do you walk away from it?
You're just like, I guess we had different ideas. All right.
Right, right. But that's when they stick in your mind and you're like, I'm going to try and find something for you, right?
Yes, of course.
We're going to go to the Q&A because we've got a lot of people who have a lot of questions for you. So are you ready for this?
Ready.
Okay. Maya Michael, she says, do you see any new changes happening in the near future regarding casting, self-tapes, and location shooting? Because we've been in a COVID world where obviously we're doing a lot of Zooms and auditions by self-tapes. Do you see any changes happening soon?
No.
Okay.
And in the short of it, no. It costs money for productions and stuff to like bring talent in to be in person, that kind of thing. And we've all gotten so used to sort of Zoom. There's definitely like a desire for especially like directors and stuff to be in person as much as possible in terms of callbacks. For first rounds, I really truly don't think so. Um, and I don't think that's necessarily bad. Like it's helpful. Like we're able to like see everyone, get a feel for it, and then like callbacks though. But it's one of those things when someone is sort of like out of town, or a producer is, or someone's out of town. Like it's so nice to be able to do it over Zoom. And I know that actors, I know it's very lonely, and you're just sort of like putting stuff into the ether, and then like in a Zoom session, you're just like sort of there. But to be totally honest, it really like chemistry reads over Zoom. It really does. And I know it's not the same as in person, but we see you more than you think. Like the first thing we ever did over Zoom was a Disney movie, and it was a chemistry between teens, and it was like five people, like an ensemble, and it was like we knew exactly who the right ensemble was of like per person, just with these little screens together. Like it was crazy how the chemistry read, even though it was virtual. But I do miss in person. I do love callbacks in person and like hanging out with everybody, and it's something that's very palpable.
The chemistry is amazing in boxes. We can just imagine how the chemistry is going to
Oh,
be
it's like magic. Yeah.
like magic, right?
I'm not saying it's perfect, but
But
it's changing soon. No.
what advice would you give to actors who need that feedback, who need that face time with you, and obviously they don't get it? So I know as a casting director, you're saying, "Oh my goodness, it opens up a whole new world for us because we're able to cast many different people from many different cities and just see them all at once." But for an actor, you're right; it feels really lonely at times.
Mhm.
You're auditioning in front of a screen and you have no feedback. So how
Right.
what advice could you give them to kind of help them with their mindset when they walk away from that?
Of course. I think it's one of those things like actors are they're detectives. Like there's only like you have a breakdown with them some sort of information, right? Like let's say it's a series that's in existence. You can go see the series or an episode or two just sort of get the tone and that kind of thing. If it's not in existence, you're able to like see what the people who are attached have worked on before and sort of like get at ideas that way. You can see what network it's on, whether it's a feature, whether it's a movie of the week. Like there's things to sort of indicate tone. Because a lot of things, the notes that we do give, if I do get a retape, it's more tonally than it is anything else. Like, trust yourself. This is your craft. And all we want to see is you in this role. Like, it's so much you than anything. It's not like you're creating this huge fake character that you're being. It's you. How would you do this? So I think just sort of trusting yourself a little bit. And I'm sorry, it's so lonely.
We don't want it to be lonely. How much do you notice when an actor isn't prepared?
Yeah.
Right. So, like,
Okay.
because you were saying, do your research, do your research on the role and see who's shooting it, et cetera, et cetera. Do you notice when an actor comes in and you're like, that actor was totally not prepared, had no idea what the character was all about, et cetera, et cetera. And do you call them
Yes. Yes. Do we call? No, I'm not
out?
going to call them out on doing that. People are busy, things happen, and yeah, no, we're not going to call them out, but we definitely know. Yeah.
You can tell, right? So what are the things that actors should do when they get a character? Obviously, it's obvious. It seems obvious that you have to research for the role, but what does somebody need to do as soon as they're auditioning for something in order to be prepared, in your mind?
Read the breakdown. Like there shouldn't be a lot of research necessarily involved. Because there's like it depends on what you're auditioning for, that kind of thing, and how much you want it and how much effort's going to go into it. Like I know a lot of things are it's a job and you have other jobs and it's busy, but read the breakdown, know who's attached to it, know who's casting it, and just sort of all the things that can indicate things. Like know, like if someone was to ask you, like, oh, what network is it on? Know if it's attached to a network, know if it's not attached to a network. Um, and and just know the tone. Like an MOW, movie of the week, for those that don't know, is a very different tone than like a feature would be, whether it be a comedy or a drama, right? Like it's not the same.
So what about for the people who do have an agent? They're constantly submitting a self-tape, but they never get to like that submission stage.
Hmm.
Somebody who's anonymous right here who's saying, my agent submits me all the time, but I hardly get into the self-tape requests. So I'd love the chance to just audition, but I don't know what I'm missing.
Okay. I would say ask your agent to push you if you're right for the role and that we've missed you. Like for example, all that we see with these submissions is like a little tiny square and the agent attached and all that kind of thing, and we're just picking sort of as we go. And if you're someone that we don't know, sometimes yes, we might pass you or we'll grab you. But if we haven't and you're like, oh my God, I'm so perfect for this, ask your agent to push you. I will not say no to a push unless I think that like they're so wrong, but then I'll say like I'm sorry, like not right.
Yeah.
I know a lot of casting directors don't necessarily respond to those things, but like we do, like I do, Larissa does, like
Yeah.
we want to support it all. Yeah.
And what do you say to the actors who give you more than the amount of takes that you want? Sometimes it's just like we just want two takes, but they'll give you three or four because they can't choose which is the best one.
As long as they're different enough. If they're like similar, don't do it.
Don't waste your
Just
time.
pick one. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they're different, like a lot of times for smaller parts, sending different takes, like one lines, two lines, whatever, can be very, very helpful. Because also and make sure they're separate though, because if like one's totally wrong, it's just easy for us to hide it instead of having to edit your video. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking before about self tapes and your pet peeves and what you like and what you don't like. Teresa's asking if you would think it was appropriate if actors used props whenever they auditioned or sound lighting effects like a car door opening or hospital
Sure.
monitors, etc.
Props. I mean, if you have a phone, you're on a phone, like totally fine. Props can be great as long as they're aiding you. However, sometimes actors tend to hide behind props and have all of these props, but like that's just because they don't know what they're doing yet. So like just make sure that they're serving you. But yes, of course, props can be totally great. And then in terms of sound effects, sure, as long as it fits the tone and is helping you, like totally great. Like we have the ability, I guess, to like make little videos and make little films with these auditions. So yeah, go crazy.
As long as it doesn't take away from your
Like,
audition.
yeah, it's about you and your audition. So like make sure, yeah. If it's
Yeah,
like a serious film, please make sure it's not like a hokey door sound, you know?
right. And if the telephone's not auditioning, you are. So the
Yeah.
scene sealer, I get it.
Yeah. But also like don't feel like you absolutely have to do those things. Like we don't expect it either. And like we're not like, oh, that's missing. If you happen to do it, just make sure it helps. If you feel it's distracting, don't do it.
Okay. Hadley Abrams has a really interesting question. Can you tell when an actor is trying to do what they think the director wants versus what the actor's instincts might be? Does that work against us in a tape?
It can generally work against you in that we're looking for sort of like believable, honest moments. And so if you're calculating it all as you go, like we can see that. The camera's right there. We can see it.
You can see it. Colleen, you are a popular lady, let me tell you. And I think it's because you've cast so many series that people have watched, including Stephen, who says, generally speaking, for large principal or reoccurring roles, example, the recent Mistletoe Murders auditions, what is the timeline between submitting a tape and the role getting cast?
I'd say with them about 2 weeks.
Ooh, that's fast.
Yeah, they move pretty quickly. It could get longer, but we're trying to like if we're moving into block two now, and we're about halfway done casting the block three. So some people who auditioned just last week, like we've already booked some of those roles, and then we're waiting on approval for another round of that block right now.
Do you do any voiceover casting? This is coming from Lori, who wants
Yes, we Paw Patrol.
pop.
I
Oh my
love a
god.
Paw Patrol. Just did an animated movie with aircraft called Julian. It's gonna be absolutely incredible. Yes, we do lots of animation as well. Yes,
All right. So what are you looking? I mean, voice acting is just it's another game,
it's
right?
a whole other
Yeah.
thing. Like it's your only paintbrush is your voice.
Right.
So use it. We need to see range. We need to see all the levels with your voice.
All right. What traits or skills do you think are common in actors who consistently work and book? Okay, so that's a good one because if an actor is constantly booking stuff, it means that obviously they're getting it right. So what do you see in them versus people who don't book?
There's like a confidence. I also think there's a confidence that comes with booking. So it was one of those things like if you're hot right now, like you're going to be hot right now. Like if sometimes we see where there's like a newer actor and all of a sudden like almost all of our projects sort of like them and you're like, oh my God, interesting. There's just a confidence in what they're sort of doing and a joy in it and they see that. And then that feels very general and I know a lot of you have that. But not being the top pick all of the time does not mean that you're not doing the work and that we're not seeing you. Yeah.
Yeah. This is from Jamie Taylor. Hi, Jamie. Does having an accent hinder my chances of booking a role in an average Canadian or American project?
Um, yes.
Yeah.
If you're not able to do the standard sort of Canadian or American dialects for those projects unless the role requires it, a lot of the times, yes. However, I will say, particularly in Canada, they're sort of way more open to having like more of a range of accents and like supporting characters and like that kind of thing and not really worrying about that because we are a place that has way more accents and way more beautiful cultures like every like here. So that's definitely like, but it is one of those things that you sh as an actor you should be able to do multiple accents.
Yeah, absolutely. And it needs to sound like it's your mother tongue
Yeah.
when when you're doing it. A lot of I mean, we live in Canada here and everyone's just like, "Oh, you got to be in Toronto or you got to be in Vancouver because those are the hubs of the acting center and stuff like that." Or if you're in Montreal, maybe so, but Toronto and Vancouver seem to be the places where it's all happening. Do you
Hmm.
think that actors need to make that move in order to be there and close to where the films are taking place, or it doesn't matter? You guys are auditioning no matter where, and you're just going to bring those actors to the sets when they get the audition.
It depends on the size of the role and the budget of the project.
Hmm.
So like projects that film in Ontario, there's tax credits that they get for filming in Ontario, and the same thing with Vancouver and using talent that are from those places and pay taxes in those places. So it's one of those things like for a lead or like a huge role, like they're willing to sort of forego those things and like bring someone over and do the and like whatever. But for generally a lot of the parts, they won't want their tax credit, and it just makes it so that the films are able to do it. Like budgets have been slashed, and it's just there's way it's everyone's dealing with low funds right now.
Right. So as much as you guys can observe actors from all over the world, it does matter where the location of the film is being shot.
It does. It does. Like for a big role, no, it doesn't matter. But however, when you're like starting out and stuff, like it's going to be the smaller ones, and you would technically need to pay taxes in one of them to be in for them to consider you. Most of the notices should say all those types of things like taxes in Ontario and looking for like Toronto local or like that kind of thing. Because I do understand like we get emails all the time. People are like from the States or from anywhere being like, we're willing to do anything, we're willing to work anywhere, bring ourselves there and that kind of thing. But if you don't pay taxes in those regions for those smaller parts, they literally can't cast you.
And do you remember, this is from this anonymous attendee, you should send your name in because that was a good question. Do you remember people based on their headshots or not at all? And how much do
Ooh.
headshots matter?
I gotta remember the headshot so much. The amount of times I'm like, oh my God, all I can think of is this headshot. This person is perfect. And like you can't search that. And
Right.
so you're trying to like go through, you're like, where do I know this headshot from? To figure out who they are to ask them to tape. But yes, you remember headshots. Um, Headshots are important to like show us what you look like. Like if you're gonna like get a headshot, but don't make it like don't get it super super edited where you look nothing like that.
Right.
Like that is
Totally.
so frustrating. Men, when you have a beard, have a headshot with a beard. When you don't have a beard, have a headshot without. Ladies, if you change your hair color, I'm so sorry. You do need a new headshot so that we know what you look like.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Because if you're casting for a brunette and all of a sudden they're blonde, you're like, what happened here?
You know what you look like. In those cases, we do, and I'm sorry, I know you have these fancy headshots. We take screen grabs of your self-tape and upload those instead, so it matches. Because we don't want to
Aha.
give anyone an excuse to be surprised or
Right.
anything.
Right. I think we have some child actors on here or parents of child actors that are saying, can braces on a child shorten the number of opportunities if they are wearing them during an audition?
I mean, I hope not. I don't think so. Like kids are kids, they're developing, and we have run into braces having to be removed for certain things, but that has happened. But they can do that, and then that's a figure thing that they figure out in the negotiations and all that stuff, and removing and putting back and all that jazz. But hopefully not. I
Mhm.
don't think so. I think you're probably okay.
Yeah, you're okay. And you're going to have nice teeth in the end. So,
Yeah.
yes, thank your mom and dad for giving you braces and a great
Yeah,
smile.
thank you. That's great.
Exactly. We have Ben who says that he's made a really successful living out of being a stunt actor in the commercial world. But aside from getting callbacks for being a stuntman, he
Right.
wants to make the transition into TV and film and do other types of roles. What advice would you give him, and what's a good way to start bridging the gap between commercial work to film and television?
Well, I don't know if he has an agent, so I'd say tell your agent to submit you for, those things. Like have a conversation with them, keep it an open dialogue, and like it's a partnership. They work with you, you work with them, and you need to make sure that they all are aware of what you want to do, what you're willing to do. I don't know as a stuntman how much training you have as an actor. Training is very important. It is a constant thing for acting. It's always moving, it's never stagnant. Like training is important. I know it costs money. And if you don't have the funds, like please don't feel pressured to. But it is important to sort of like keep the active muscle working and training. And so that when you're on set, like you're able to handle everything that's being thrown at you. Like on set is a whole other thing, right?
How important is it that your agent is well recognized in the industry? Do you pay more attention to the reputable agents or do you give everybody equal chances?
We really do our best to give equal chances to everyone and make sure that every agent that submits is getting some auditions for their talent. Like they work very hard, everyone works like, and they only make money if talent book. So we try and give opportunities like evenly throughout.
You are casting for the Office Movers Season 2 series. It's casting now. The series follows two underachieving brothers who are navigating the reality of Toronto moving industry. So, what are we looking for in Season 2?
Season two, it's a little hard to say in that I don't have the scripts yet.
Oh,
But
okay.
big personalities, the team love like comedy, they love improv. So just like if any of you get auditions for it, just have fun, go for it and enjoy yourself. Like they love talent and it's non-union, so I'm very sorry for actor talent for this one, but
Okay, so it's non-union. We're looking for big personalities and just go for it. So when somebody gets that audition or they're submitting their tape, what do you want to see?
It's a comedy, and as long as you're believing what's happening, the comedy is in sort of the reactions to everything and not being afraid to react big. Not big like campy, like they believe it, but like going for the moments and going for the comedy and finding all the beats. Like a lot of things with comedy is that it's not sort of this like linear one sort of level thing. There's so many comedic beats within each line, and there's moments, and the sides that we give, you have to find all those and find the comedy in it. It's
Yeah.
there, but you have to figure out where and how to bring it out.
For people who want to break into the industry and they want to try out acting, what advice would you give them right now?
I mean, do an open call, do an audition, see sort of like how you feel and just see if like you enjoyed it. Like so much of it is just trying to do something that you love and enjoy. And if it's something that you find you do, like go into it more, like dive in.
Yeah.
Take an acting class, take an audition class, find community in it and just see if that is something that feels good to you.
How important is it for the people that you cast to have a big presence on social media?
I mean, it wouldn't be for sort of every role or anything. It's just something that the guys love because they're content creators themselves. It's one of those things like we run into it a fair bit with different projects where if they have a following, then that means eyes on the show.
Yeah.
Is it the leading factor? No. Is it something we look at sometimes? Yes. But it's not the deciding factor. It's one of those things. It's just like something noted.
Yeah, absolutely. Colleen, this has been a great working actor experience with you. Thank you so much for making time for us. We can't wait to see season 2 and everything else that you're up to this year. And we invite you back again if you'll come back.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for having me, Natasha, and Casting Workbook. It was so much fun. And of course I come back. I love
Yay!
answering questions.
Yay!
We're lonely too. We want community, you know?
I know casting directors, you know what? You are the most it's the most underrated job because you guys do most of the work when we're watching whatever it is. It's you who are the ones who are responsible for putting all the talent up on the screen. So I applaud you guys for doing the toughest job in the industry. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And we love actors. Just know that. We love you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for joining us on another episode of The Working Actor. We will see you again next week. Till then, have a great weekend, everybody, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.